everyone, this is Kelly and I'm just here to take a bit of a peek at the illustrated bestiary. I have a video and I will put a link to it in the description box below of this beautiful kind of book and card combination by Maya? Not sure. Toll. This is obviously the illustrated herbiary, and it's beautiful. I absolutely love everything about it. So it has this fully colored illustrated book, and then in the back of it, it has this little, envelope thing that came some cards. Now, the cards are definitely nothing. The cards are beautiful, but the cardstock is nothing to write home about. They are, thinnish cardboard. They were hooked together. I'll show you in a minute when we get to this. They're hooked together, so you have to cut them apart. And there's little nubbins there. But I'll be honest, once I kind of trimmed them down and colored the edges, it's really not anything that is bad, and it's a nice size. Now there is a deluxe set now for the herbiary, but I didn't get that because you can't get the box set for the bestiary yet, and I really just wanted to have all the cards go together. And I actually really like this size, and the big set is quite large cards. I will put a link below to Jessica the Story Witch has a video showing the herbiary compared to this, to the actual one. They're beautiful, but they're very large cards, and excuse me, I actually do like this size, even though those are beautiful. So I decided to go ahead and get the bestiary now, which is just only in this format. And there is also I don't know what it's called, but there's also a crystal one that's coming out first in book form. My assumption is that down the road they will have a box set for the other two as well of the Oracle size, but I don't know. But I'll be honest, while the paper stock's not the greatest, for sure, this is clearly the focus of this set is the book, with the cards just being sort of an additional add-on. They shuffle well, they've held up well. I wouldn't say that I've used this a ton, but I've definitely shuffled it quite a bit, and they've held up well. So, again, I think if you purchase these, it's with the assumption, the beautiful part of this is a lot of it is focused on the book, not on the, where we as card readers, we buy a deck, and then the book is there to kind of give us information about the deck. In this case, you have a book that is gorgeously illustrated and beautiful with large images, great text, and this is sort of like an add-on tool for us to be able to interact with what's in the book. And so in that way, it works in that sense. So that's that. So that's what these are. I'm going to leave these out for a minute just so we can compare the backings of this one. So I picked this up. I believe you can get these about $12 on Amazon. I picked it up. It's originally, the retail price is $20 US. I had a 25% off coupon, my normal. I have a Barnes & Noble's book club, plus I had a coupon, and so I definitely paid under $15, and I know you can get these on Amazon for under $15 price-wise, and it's just stunning. So, receipt. So we can see the back of this is more of this gorgeous blues, this really rich dark blue with a copper key to it, and you can see obviously lots of plants, but you also do see crystals and birds. This seems to be what I see right away, and that of course is the backing of the card, whereas in this one it's a beautiful like teal blue, and it looks like we have like a foxtail, a wing of an animal here, And then some plants and foliage, of course, around it as well. It's really beautiful, and so I'm assuming that's going to be the back of the cards as well. And I think I have a that one might work. I'll have to look to see what I'll end up edging it. I could do it more in this tealy blue, but I don't know that I have something like that. Are these the same? I know, I'm already, yep, these are the same. Clearly I like this color. So sometimes when it's on paper it looks differently, so I'll have to see what that looks like. Anyways, I'm going to zoom this in a little bit here so you can actually see well. This says the Illustrated Bestiary, Guidance and Rituals from 36 Inspiring Animals. And, oops, let me go back here. Illustrations are by Kate O'Hara, and the illustrations are absolutely gorgeous. To the four-leggeds and the winged ones, and those who swim the sea, thank you for remembering what we've forgotten. And to Andrew and the hearts, and to Andrew and the beasts for navigating this luscious life beside me. I'm assuming the beasts are her kids. So you have a list of the animals with their keywords in there. They are not alphabetical. Neither was the herbiary. Which, you know, does make you kind of hunt for it. They have come up with a solution both in the box set of the herbiary and in this set of the bestiary, and I'm not, you know, you can't make everybody happy, and no, it's nobody's job to make me happy. It's not my favorite solution. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. There are some there's some quotes here. Obviously go through introductions and that type of thing, but then it really does get right into the actual stuff. You get this large, gorgeous image of the illustration. You have the keywords, the name, a white-tailed deer, the common name, as well as the more scientific name. And then you have this beautiful sort of step into kind of meeting up with the deer. And then it gives you a ritual, something to actually do that, you know, would connect you with that energy. Like in this case, I like how it's talking about deer energy, but then it talks about the difference between a fawn, a doe, and a buck, and how their energy might be different. And then there's a reflection. I'm so sorry, it's actually really late, but I just felt like looking at this. So of course it goes through each one of these this way. You have the beautiful image, the keyword. You do have a notification. If you see this in symbol here, it lets you know that these are endangered in some way, or in some way in crisis in the world. And so that's put there to sort of remind us of those things. Again, you have sort of that intro, kind of meeting the salmon, the ritual, and then the reflection, which is really beautiful. And there's my lovely raven, monarch butterflies. So there are, of course, again, all of the animals that you would think of, and it's really beautifully a look at this common tortoise. Let's just read the common tortoise. Steady on, common tortoise. Testudo Greca, I have no clue. Slow and steady, says Tortoise, well versed in the ways of time. Tortoise was born ancient, older than snake or alligator, and certainly older than humans. As other species have changed, evolved, and shifted, Tortoise has remained steadfast. Late to almost everything, Tortoise is the totem of the slow bloomer. There's no need to be a prodigy, Tortoise assures you. You didn't miss the boat simply because your first few decades have passed. Hunker down, connect with the earth, take a siesta. It's through the slow and steady that we truly come to know ourselves. The ritual is slow the roll, and it gives you some information that the tortoises are among the longest lived creatures on Earth with lifespans sometimes measured in centuries. They have been associated with immortality not only because of their long lives, but also because of tortoises' ability to survive a forest fire, a gift given to those whose shells have thickened enough to withstand the heat. Tortoises are like stones, moving slowly so as not to disturb the flow of time. What happens when you move more slowly? And it says, try this. Set the intention to take twice as long to eat a meal. Slow down your chewing and swallowing. Pause between bites. Put your fork down occasionally and breathe, noticing the world around you. How does it feel to move more slowly, to step into tortoise time? Notice all the various parts of your being. How does your stomach feel? How does your mind feel? How does time itself feel? And it says here, tortoise or turtle. All tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. The word tortoise refers to land-dwelling creatures. We had a tortoise for a very long time. They are really lovely creatures. Anyways, reflection, a universe unto herself. Tortoise carries her home on her back, and that home, her shell, is often decorated with 13 scoots, the patterned squares of a tortoise shell. The 13 scoots are said to reflect the 13 full moons of the year. Thus, tortoise represents both the earth, which she hugs with her powerful legs, and the night sky, which she wears on her back. She is a universe unto herself. Tortoise is a solitary creature, born alone, her mother long gone. She lives most of her life both inside her shell and deep in her burrow, which protects her from the temperature changes. Tortoise teaches you the art of being at home with aloneness and with yourself. How do you do with aloneness? Can you come together with others, not from a place of need, but from the peace of your own center, contently balanced between your own earth and sky? And then there's a quote here, loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is richness of self. Mary Sarton, The Journal of Solitude. So that's an example of one of the entries that you will get. Now, I did want to point out one other thing. At the end, which I thought was cute, not cute because it's true, but I liked this edition here. Not everybody probably did, but I thought it was nice, is that it has human as one of the animals in the bestiary. And I actually really love this because I do think that sometimes we see ourselves as removed from the natural world, and especially as we're working with animals and we're working with nature, there's sometimes, I can't put my finger on it, but sometimes the way that we talk about, especially in the spiritual community and things of that nature, when we talk about having a spiritual path in which we're working with nature and these types of things, it's almost as if we see ourselves removed and we're kind of trying to reinsert ourselves or enter into a space of nature. But we are part of nature with all of our strengths and our weaknesses, our beauties and our challenges. We are humans that are of nature. We're not something alien that has come to wreak havoc on the natural world. We're part of that natural world. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have the ability to do such things, but the fact of the matter is that we are part of the animal kingdom. We are part of nature. We are part of earth. And so I like that kind of reminder that we aren't something that is apart from nature, but that we are part of it. And so I quite like that addition there. So if it goes through all that, what makes us human, creating a council, and then it talks about how to work with the bestiary cards, a 1-card draw, a 2-card draw with a crossing card, calling in guidance. She talks about working with animal energy there. And of course it reminds us that there is an herbiary, a little thing from the author. And then we get to the back where we have the cards. So I'll show you how, oh, see, I'm so bad at this, although I'm not too worried about those kinds of things because I won't be putting it back in here once I cut them up. And again, I think I already said this, but I know that Jessica has done a comparison of the cards versus the deluxe version, and I will try to remember to put a link to it below. If I forget, just Google, or in the YouTube search thing, search Illustrated Herbia Jessica Star the Story Witch, or Jessica the Story Witch, and that will get you there. Oops, I didn't get them all. Okay. So they come like this in, 4x4. They come apart very easily. The backs are just gorgeous. I mean, look at those backs. And you can definitely, let me make sure of that. They're the exact same size. So you can definitely mix these together, which is probably something that I will do. Although if you want to pull like an animal and an herb, or when the crystal comes out, one of each, you definitely can do that. But you could mix these together to make an animal, a larger animal and herb deck to go together, if you wanted to, obviously. So yeah, they come across, and again, you could take like a little nail file and kind of smooth those out. They're not on that side. I found, of course, because again, I did do markers. By the time I kind of did that, I don't think I did anything to these other than just putting the, edging it, and I feel like they worked down fine. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I don't think this format's the best way to approach that, but it is what it is. So I'll show you right away what I'm not a huge fan of, although it's so unobtrusive. And the truth of the matter is, in person, I haven't seen this in person yet. I've only seen it on videos. I don't have my glasses on, and I'll be honest with you, I can't even read it. So it's very small. So I'm actually less irritated by it than I was the thought of it. There is a page number on the bottom of the card. And I'm not a big fan of that, because I don't know, I don't like copyrights on the cards. Like, just have the beautiful card, the name, the keywords, and then have have them alphabetized or something like that. But I'm not a huge fan of that. But again, in person, I will say it's very unobtrusive. Now, in the larger cards, it's going to be much more obvious. In this one, again, unless I have my glasses on, I can't even read that. I can tell that it's there, and I can tell that it's a number, but I can't read it. So it's a lot less obtrusive than it looks, zoomed in on a video. So I'm actually relieved to hear. So you can see they come apart really easily. And again, you could easily take like a nail file. I wouldn't take anything too harsh because it's very thin, it's very thin cardstock. But you could take like a nail file or something to those edges just to even them out. Other than the page number, which is not on this, although in the large format Oracle cards, that page number is there, and I actually think it would be much more obvious because they are quite large cards. But you can see they're similarly set up, where they have the name of what it it is. This is mugwort, this is little owl, and then it has this is between dreams, and this is key in to wisdom. I really need to go put my glasses on. These are small, these are poker sized cards, so maybe a little bit, let's see, maybe a little bit bigger than poker sized, but I think they're pretty close. Yeah, so they're slightly larger than poker sized. Ooh, those look pretty together. You can see it's it's wider and a little bit taller than poker size. Again, I like this for, in terms of working with like my ancestor cards that are about this size when they're trimmed up, that I use a lot. It's a good size to go with that particular deck, so I don't mind it. You can also see the front part is kind of a dark tealy color. I'm wondering if this is going to be, Should I test it? I'm gonna wait till I have them all pulled out yet. I'm hoping I could, like from the front, I could actually do this, but from the back, I don't feel like that's gonna go as, but that's not either. So I may need to go more with, it's just the same color. I don't know how I ended up with doubles of some of these. Probably because they're ones I like to cover it in. From the front, I feel like this is the color I should use, but I don't know that that's really going to match the back. So this will be an interesting decisions. Ooh, I love the spider. So this does have, this is something I always look at. Obviously, again, nobody can have the perfect, make the perfect deck except for me making the perfect deck for myself, right? In terms of what's included. I love that elephant. We're going to go through these, but there is, I think, my wolf, bear, and I think the raven, wolf, and bear, I know. And then there's the spider, which is something I work a lot with. So that's always a big plus for me. Obviously, if you have specific animal energies that you work with, you want to see those show up in the deck. Not that I have that expectation, but I am happy when I see that there. Okay, this must be my daughter's because I cannot file my nails. It makes me nauseous. Or it sets my teeth on edge. I mean, I really wouldn't put a whole lot of pressure into this. I don't think it's necessary. And I certainly wouldn't want you to ruin your cards because they aren't, they're not super strong cards, but this is like a mild, so I'm just taking it down a little bit, just kind of smoothing them out. I'm sure if you worked at it, you could probably get it pretty flat or pretty smooth there, but again, I have found once I put the marker on it, it's fine. So there you have them. Of course, these are mixed up because I'm going to go through the animals one by one, like I would do with cards, but I'm going to go through it with the book because it's a nice, huge image. These feel a little bendier. Let me try this one. Felt like those were more bendy than, there's spider in this one as well, which I loved. Yeah, these feel bendier. Let me see something here. They look to be about the same thickness. Yeah, they don't seem, but if you watch when I riffle, and there's 36, I wonder if did I miss a stack? I'm going to go in there and look. They bend more. That's definitely a different card stock. This does not flex anywhere near as much. Yeah, that's kind of interesting because these feel better, I'll be honest. This has like maybe more of a matte feel to it. These definitely feel bendier, but thickness wise, there's not much difference. It's almost like these are slightly more matte, even though these are not super glossy, especially on the front. They're like satin, but these almost feel like they're matte, especially the back part. It's not the same paper, which is too bad because I know that these have held up pretty well, so I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know that these are going to hold up as well. Yeah, I can bridge these like nothing. These are much thinner. Sorry, I know I'm repeating myself. It's just one of those things when you're checking something out. But the interesting thing is they are really, I would say, identical in terms of thickness. So it's just it's a different card stock. We'll have to see how well this ends up holding up, if it holds up as well as this. I think I'm gonna wait because I think I will take these to Michael's tomorrow. I'm still leaning towards this. It's the same color as this lighter. I think this is going to go better. Let's just do a couple and see what they look like, because, you know, we're just hanging out. Just hanging out. We'll just do a couple so you guys can get a feel for how they look. You can't tell. To be honest, you can't really tell until you do a few. I know we're doing things backwards. Like I said, it's actually pretty late at night, and I just felt like sitting down and taking a peek at this and giving it a go. But, you know, again, you know, in terms of quality, we have to just keep in mind that you are paying, I'm 90% sure on Amazon you're paying about $12 for an absolutely stunning book, and this is just kind of like an extra feature. And as I said, I'm pretty sure, since they did the one, that they'll have all of them in the deluxe sets if that's something that you want. Now, when they're all available, will I end up doing that? I'm not sure, because the box sets really weren't that expensive either. So, yeah, that's a decent color for this. Now, I wouldn't say maybe it's a perfect match, but it's going to be decent. Anyways, even the box sets, which are gilded, they look like a relatively shiny gilding. And you get the exact same book, but I have the book, so I don't know that I'll repurchase them, because again, I actually like this smaller size when dealing with things like this. And I'll show you in a minute what I would likely, A, I would use them together, and B, there's another deck that I would use them with that would also be small. And I'm really excited about the crystal deck. I don't know if there's enough. There's probably not enough yet to show. So I will, before I close off the video, I will come back and show you this all, with it all done, so that you can see, you can kind of see there. That way you can see them all lined or edged like that. And also show a couple ways in which I would use these. So let's just do a quick flip through just so you can see the animals instead of the cards, which are pretty, well, you don't really get, no, let's zoom in on the cards. They're not going to be in order, but that's okay. I'm going to zoom in here. Yeah, because this is what you'll be working with. Let me grab my glasses. Okay, so here we have the honeybee. Even with my glasses, I can barely read that. I think it's on page 127, but I can barely read it. I'm happy to see that, actually, because I was kind of disappointed by that, and it's actually kept me from buying it up until this point. So I'm glad to see in person that that is not so obvious. Honeybee, navigate by the sun. There's my bear. Sync with the cycles, black bear. And one thing I did like is that these are very specific animals. So it's not just bear, it's black bear. It's not just elephant, it's Asian elephant. Honor lineage. This is such a beautiful card. There's my wolf. Nurture connections. Here is spring peeper frog. It says evolve into your next becoming. With the scripty nature and my bad eyesight, and how small it all is, I will say it's a little bit difficult for me to read it. It's the same font and everything as this one, though. So, align your inner compass with the raven, which I love. Renew your life with the sea eagle. Stand up for yourself with the spotted skunk. I love that there is a skunk here. This is beautiful. Navigate life with determination. The red salmon. I read the whole description on the salmon card too, and it's really gorgeous. Slide into joy with the river otters. Otters are really, have always, since I was a young child, been favorite animals of mine. Love fiercely with the whooper swan. Everything is connected with a zigzag spider. Oops, I'm taking too many. Know your song. I love that there's a house finch here. It's not just all fancy animals. I love finches and sparrows and wrens. They're my favorites. I do love some beautiful birds as well, but I really love small little brown birds that are all around and busy, and I just love them. So it's quite lovely. Dive under the surface with the orca whale. Digest your past with the monarch butterfly. Free your inner fire with the pileated woodpecker. Those look like woodpeckers that we have here, but I've not heard them called that, but we probably have just like a local name for them. Listen for spirit with the barn owl. Key into wisdom with the little owl. I will say there are multiple owls in this deck, and here's another one. Get creative with the screech owl. I do again like there being individual things. I would say with such a small deck, which is only 36 cards of animals, I would have appreciated not having multiples of the same kind of animal. I'm going to see if it's just the owl. Again, I do like that there is understanding that there are differences between a screech owl, I love little owls, and a barn owl. They have different energies, but because, again, the deck's so small, I personally would have preferred there to be just more opportunities for different kinds of animals. But again, that's just nitpicking. Make manifest the beaver. You are worthy with a tabby cat. I love this, where you see a cat, but then you see that sort of great cat behind her. Commune with nature with the blue damselfly. Steady on. I love this image of the common tortoise, which we read. Discover the pattern with the broad-winged katydid. I love katydid. That they would put a katydid in the deck. Find your element, sea turtle. So there we do have tortoises and turtles, although those are actually different. Well, I guess they're, as she said, they're both turtles, but we have a sea turtle, which is very different than a land turtle. Human, remember forgetting. Delight in daring with the 5-line skink, which is obviously a reptile. Deal with the dirt with the eastern oyster. Like, you don't see oysters in animal decks, so I do like that that's something different. Pause, assess, and act with the white-tailed deer. And again, this is kind of focusing on the, I believe these are the keywords for the doe, the fawn, the doe, and the stag. Worked together with the house mice. Grow your truth with the black snake. It's a cool picture. Appreciate the process with the cow and the bull. Transcend yourself with the Andalusian horse, which is gorgeous. I mean, the lowly earthworm. I mean, they're creatures too that have lessons to teach us. Discover your purpose with the earthworm. Change your perspective with the nuthatch. I love nuthatches. And I love, of course, that there's a fox, because who doesn't love a fox? Shapeshift with the red fox. So, I mean, obviously these are stunning. Here are my 3 main animals that I've worked with forever and a day. Come different times, different places. Different times, but all been around for a very long time. But the artwork is gorgeous, just as the artwork was absolutely stunning with the Herbiary. So let me go ahead and finish edging these so you can see them edged, and then I'll show you a couple ways that I would plan on working with these cards. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I am finished. Here is the front to the sides to the back. It matches this inner little line, and it matches the back better than maybe this darker line, but it looks really good. Certainly it looks good with the Herbiary. I mean, they're really beautiful. Like the backings and stuff are just really gorgeous. So in case anybody wants to know exactly which one, these are the La Plume 2s, and it is number 1122. Well, actually, maybe that's the brand name. Sorry about that. It's number 58 Peacock Green. These are like a dye-based, whereas like Tombow is more of a water-based, which I have used for edging as well. The La Plumes are more of a pigment dye, I believe, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, I've used them both for doing reading or to edging decks with, and I'm happy with. Right now you can see a little bit on my hands, but that's from doing it. Once I wash my hands, I don't have an issue with these rubbing off on my hands later. They tend to stay where they're at. So that's that. There's a couple ways I see myself using these. Well, of course, I have animal and herb decks already, and I use them the same way I use those. But one of the things I like is the size. I have, and that's one of the reasons I'm excited about the crystal one coming out as well, is I have in my journey tokens, which obviously is something I use a lot of, just because it's my thing. If a crystal, or look how quickly the one that doesn't have a deck right now comes to the surface. Of course, I'm sure that that's not going to be, well, here, like here is a plant one. Come on, come to the surface, oh, animal one. But that would be asking way too much of the universe. There's all these little tokens can flip. They're not really made to be picking and trying to find. Here it is. So I have 3 tokens in my system. I also have some loose dice and stuff rolling around. Anyways, that when those come up, you can just use those for what they, you know, for their traditional meaning there. But let's say I, you know, did a reading with 3 other ones, and the, you know, one of them is the animal. You can roll a d20 and check a chart and get you can just read it as animal support energy, but then you can also get a specific energy there. But what you can also do, which I've done with other decks as well, but this is just nice because they're compact, is that then I can take the animal bestiary cards and, you know, shuffle, 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 and pull a card. And so having the animal support energy in general, but then in specific, get creative, is I'm being told to get creative by the screech owl. And so of course, you know, now that can also be the case if I have if I pull the plant card, and I think by this spring I should be able to do the same thing if I pull you know, the crystal card too. Again, I have other decks that do this, but to have 3 sets of small ones that will do that, my intention is eventually, you know, have my own that go with the deck itself. But this is a really nice thing, especially again once that crystal one's there, so I'm excited about that. But that's one way, is that in addition to doing something else, you know, I can pull a card like that with my tokens, because that's something that I work with a lot. The other thing is, let me grab this other deck. I do a lot of readings with my Shaman's Oracle. Now this is very different artwork, so it's not that this is matching artwork, but it is very close in size. And so if I was going to, you know, pull a message from the ancestors, now I do a full big ancestor reading, but sometimes I just want a quick message from a specific ancestor to help maybe a specific situation, or what ancestor is kind of stepping forward to work through a particular problem with me, or requesting aid for a particular problem, right? So then I can shuffle, 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 obviously thinking about whatever that is, and I can pull my ancestor card here, and here we have the Hunter of Strength. Now the hunters in this deck are about both strategizing, but they are also doing their action. They figure out what needs to be done, but then they actually go and do it. It's one of the things I love about this particular suit. I love every suit in here, but that's what I love about this one. So here's the Hunter of Strength and ancestor energy stepping forward to give strength, right? And so then I could pull an animal card, because for me, ancestor energy, plant energy, animal energy, it's all down there in the root, in the earth, right? The roots of the plants go deep into the earth. Animals, you know, come from the earth and go return to the earth. Ancestors to me are down in the web, in the roots of the tree, in the web. So these energies can all intermingle beautifully. And so thinking about the Hunter of Strength in whatever circumstances that I would need it to do. And then I could pull an animal card. In this case, what's beautiful is that we have the river otter. So in a situation in which we need strength, we get a playful joy card. And this reads slide into joy, so that whatever the circumstances that are is going on, part of the way in which I can gather strength is from those moments of joy. Whatever's happening, don't miss out on the joy that's around us. It's not that joy is a distraction. Joy is actually an aspect of strength. But of course, otters are not just about joy and playfulness. There's a lot of other, I always, with animal energy, you want to go look some lore up about the particular animal, like otters. Look at the other aspects of self, the community, the family spirit, these types of things, and see what other messages that you might get from otter. And then you can pull, obviously, a plant, and in this case we have mullein, and this is all about integration and bringing those kind of energies together, bringing together joy and strength, and those things are going to help bolster. Again, this isn't, I don't have a specific situation in mind, but you can see where these would work really well for not art. Again, it's not that the art is similar whatsoever, but that I like the size of it, and to work with this deck, and certainly in this way. And then again, once the crystal one's in there, you can sort of have this really earthy message to come up with from the ancestor. So I quite like that idea of working with it as well. Also, the other deck that came to mind, I just wanted to see how, oh dear, did I shuffle my, yep, I did, there we are. There's two cards, a Journeyer and the Companion, that I keep like this, and so there's that. The other deck that I thought maybe would be pretty with, this is more visual. My brain goes in many directions, but this is more visual. Oops, why does it feel like it must have gone within? I could be wrong here, but these are so vibrant and stunning. I felt like these might actually go beautifully too. We're just playing here. If you're done playing, you can go do something else, I guess, because we're just hanging out and playing here. So you could even pull 3 cards here. We have Reflection, we have Intellect, and we have Protection. So you might do, or I might do, because I do love to do readings with this deck. And then again, let's not pull the same ones, let's just flip them over. You could pull, and yeah, see, these to me, like, boldness wise and stuff, this goes really beautiful with this deck. Does it have the white borders? No, but I still feel like vibrancy wise. So we have earthworm and rosemary, or here we have burdock and the whale. I feel like artistically and color saturation, these go really well with this, with the looks of this particular deck, which is called the Curious Oracle. And so I feel like it's got that sort of folky feel, folk art feel to the cards that I think goes really well with that. So these are two that I could definitely see pairing together, because I do enjoy pairing things together. It's just part of my nature, of the way that I divine. So there's that. You could even do, oops, let's put them in the right pile. There was one other thing. Oh, I don't know. I think this would be too soft of art, but you could even do, you know, a playing card reading with this stunning deck that I love, which is called the Fauna playing cards. This is the veiled edition with the black and red, which is just good for playing card divination. Let's just split these a little bit somewhere else so we get some different cards, but it's very earthy based. And see, these I think still would look really pretty. Let's see if we can get some multiple colors in here. Just like here you have the fox, the bear, like that would even be really pretty together. I actually quite like those together. And this gives you the playing card divination, and then it gives you the oracle cards added in there, but those look really beautiful together. So those are the three things that, or four things with the journey tokens. Those are the things that came to mind. Now obviously you can also just use them on their own. You can also mix them all together and end up with a larger deck of cards, nature cards, all mixed together with animals and plants, and have a really gorgeous oracle, which I think at some point let's just mix them together and just give it a whirl. I will say it feels slightly weird just because the two decks have a slightly different bend to them, and it makes me wonder if this always can. I have tried this on some other decks, and sometimes you end up having where it will always split at the same type of cards. So the one deck is sort of, must have a slippier card stack or something, so whenever you split, it's always the same deck. It's never the second deck. So I don't know if that's going to be the case with these or not, but you don't know until you try. So there you would then have the cow, the raven, and the snake. Of course, that time we get them all the same. Split the deck. Oops. Of course, we are getting all animals. There's the rose, and there's Tulsa. So that's something you could definitely do, and then have a again, an animal, a nice sized animal and plant deck to go together. And it's really easy to split them apart when you're done, because, you know, just obviously with the backs, it's not going to be that hard to put those back into place. So there you have it. I hope you have enjoyed this little look at the illustrated bestiary by Maya Toll and the beautiful illustrations of Kate O'Hara. And I just hope you've enjoyed this. I have certainly enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video.